Hello everyone and welcome. It's Chef Jason Morris, your Ace Hardware Grill expert. I'm hanging out again at my local Ace, and I'll tell you what, I've been hamming it up with the folks all day. We've been talking about ham-tastic things, and I'll tell you what, it's really a hammy day to be here at Ace Hardware. In case you haven't guessed, we're doing all things ham today. We are talking world's best ham on the Traeger grill. But before we get started, hey, this is a great abbreviated video where we walk you through some of the finer points. But I'll tell you what, head down to the comment section below. There's a link for this recipe. Print that recipe out and follow along with us. We're gonna cover a lot of the points, but the meat, the nitty gritty, the details, everything you need is gonna be hanging out in this recipe that you can grab down below in the comment section. And then while you're watching the video, from time to time, this eye is gonna pop up on top of, either on the left or right of your screen. And I'll tell you what, click on that because that's gonna let you in deep. That's gonna let you into the world of grilling. It's gonna tell you all the gear, the gadgets, the grills, the pellets, all that cool stuff that we have for you as well. And I'll tell you, I'm excited about this recipe for a lot of reasons, because this is now our opportunity to take that picnic ham and clean it up. That's right, we're not doing nitrites and nitrates. We're not doing curing salts and pink salt. We are going to do this beautiful picnic ham from scratch, nice and clean. And we're gonna control the flavor from the package to the plate. We've got this beautiful boneless pork shoulder, picnic ham here. We're gonna give it a couple days worth of brine. We're gonna add a lot of flavor to it. And then the star of the show is gonna be the Traeger, where we're gonna smoke it for a couple hours and then we're gonna roast it, cover it up, and glaze it and make a beautiful, delicious ham. The great thing is, hey, this works awesome in your backyard for the holidays, but as you can see, we also have the tailgater behind us. This works great on the go as well. A totally awesome tailgating thing. Some fresh ham sandwiches. Life is pretty good, right? So I'll tell you what, let's take a little bit and do what we do. We always do this food flyover where we talk about the ingredients we're gonna be cooking with today. And then after the food flyover, we're gonna show you how we fire up the grill and talk a little bit about the starting temperatures and what kind of pellets we're gonna add and get you all set. But let's get kicked off here with our food flyover. So we've got a beautiful, about a 7.5 pound boneless pork shoulder. We've got a couple different kinds of maple syrup, some pure maple syrup. We're gonna add a little bit of some organic vanilla paste. We're gonna add some cinnamon to it. We're gonna kick up that glaze with a little bit of our rub-a-dub as well. Obviously some brown sugar to give it that rich, dark, molassesy flavor. And then I'll tell you what, we've gotta make a choice. We're gonna do a couple different brine options, right? You can go with our chef's brine just to give you that nice standard even brine. This guy's gonna soak for 2 days, so we really want that brine to be big and bold and have a lot of flavor. One of these packages will normally do 16 pounds, but for today's purpose and for the 2 days of brining, one package is going to do 7 pounds of ham. Next up, we've got our Bayou brine. So that's gonna be a little bit more hearty, robust flavor. And again, 2 days worth of soak time. We definitely want that thing to pick up a lot of flavor. So I'll tell you what, I think we should get going here. Be sure to tell your friends and family, subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can go right down there, click on that little bell, fill in your information. You'll be notified when this Red Vest video is launching and the next Red Vest video is going to launch as well. That's a total mouthful, but all right, we're ready to rock and roll. Let's get cooking. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. It is time to ace this recipe and get moving along. When it comes to making ham, one of the things I like about this recipe is we're not adding any sulfites or nitrates or nitrites. What we're doing is really doing a fresh picnic ham from scratch, just using one of our brines. We're gonna go ahead and use the chef brine. So what we have here is we followed the instructions on the package, and now we've got a nice cooled brine. So this brine, we heated it up, gave it a chance for everything to open up, for all the sugar and salt to melt and dissolve. And now we're gonna fortify this. So we're gonna take the chef's brine and we're gonna add 2 cups of maple syrup. So that's gonna be about 16 ounces of maple syrup. And then we're gonna go ahead and add 2 cups of brown sugar as well. We want all of that molassesy color to get in there and to really start giving this ham kind of the foundation for what it needs to be an absolutely amazing ham. It's gonna spend 2 days in this brine, okay? So that's important to remember. This process is not a fast process when it comes to the brining. This is gonna spend a couple days in there and come out absolutely wonderful. All right, the next thing we have here is we have our boneless ham. So we're gonna go ahead and stick our ham in there, and now we're gonna let that ham sit in the refrigerator covered for 2 days. We want that ham to absorb all the flavor that it can possibly absorb, coming out nice and delicious for us. So there you have it. That's pretty easy. Like I said, we followed the brine instructions on the package. So we followed that. We cooled the brine. Then we added our brown sugar and added our maple syrup. Now we add our boneless pork shoulder to that. And we'll see you in 2 days. That's right. We'll see you in 48 hours when this is done. It's time to make our glaze now, and while the pork is in the brine and while that picnic shoulder is in the brine for a couple days, I thought, you know what, let's go ahead and get this out of the way, keep this covered in our kitchen, and it will be set and ready for us to go. So what we're gonna do is basically add 2 cups of brown sugar. We're just making a nice sugar glaze. Hey, and the great thing about this entire recipe, 100% customizable to make it exactly what you want. We're gonna add to our 2 cups of brown sugar, we're gonna add 2 tablespoons of our rub-a-dub. And this is a great rub that's just gonna give you that well-rounded flavor. We're gonna add a teaspoon of cinnamon or more if you prefer. I just like a nice little hint of cinnamon in there, nothing too crazy. Vanilla extract, we're gonna add a teaspoon, again, or more if you want, depending on your preference. Now we're gonna finish it up with our cup of maple syrup. So now that we've got that in there, basically what we do now, pretty simple. We're gonna stir this up and make a beautiful, beautiful glaze. One of the things we'll need to have handy when it comes time to glaze our turkey is a brush. So we just got one of our pastry brushes here, brand new. We're gonna go ahead and use that. We'll dip it in there, baste our ham when the time comes, and life is good. Look at that, we're doing our reserve pellets today. I really like these guys. That oak, apple, and cherry add a really nice flavor for me. And I know that if I wanna boost up that flavor, hickory and mesquite do a nice job as well, but the reserve blend is gonna give me that nice, even, smooth smoke. We're gonna go ahead and turn our grill onto 180 degrees, and now we're gonna let this preheat. That 180 setting is gonna give us all the smoke we need for the first couple hours of this ham process. So we'll go ahead and shut the lid, and we'll keep this guy rolling. Well, look at this. Here we are, 48 hours worth of brine. We've got a beautiful color on this ham. We're gonna go ahead and pull it out of the brine. And now it's time to make our diagonal cuts across the top of this, just down into the skin, just down into that fat. We wanna start getting this guy opened up so our glaze sticks in all those nooks and crannies and comes out absolutely fantastic. So now that this is set, it's time to load it onto our preheated grill and get ready to rock and roll. But there you have it. 48 hours of brine time, came out with some beautiful color, made some diagonal crisscross marks in there. Those guys are gonna open up beautifully. And once this thing starts smoking and roasting and glazing, gives us a chance to get everything into those nooks and crannies. Next up, we'll show you how we get this onto the grills. All right, we have our Traeger preheated at 180 degrees using our reserve blend pellets. And as you can see over on the left side, we've got our iGrill 2 ready to rock and roll. This is one of my favorite cooking tools. I'll tell you a little bit more about it in a second. But look at this, we're all set and ready to go. We've got the foil changed out so that we can have an absolutely fantastic ham. I like to change the foil because that way we don't get any extra things, any extra flavors, any extra funk. Now I'm gonna go ahead and take my iGrill probe and I'm gonna load it into the thickest, fattest part of my ham, keeping most of that probe buried like it is. The beauty of this gadget, I'll tell you what I love about this, we'll go ahead and shut the Traeger here, let that smoke roll. You can see we've got the iGrill probe loaded in there, and that cable runs all the way through the grill, through that little side hole that's on there. We shut our lid. Now the great thing is, guess what? 100% Bluetooth, works with an app on my phone, and now I can track the temperature of the ham and the progress of the ham really from the comfort of my couch. The iGrill 2 is fantastic for us, allows us to spend a lot more time enjoying family versus what temperature is it? What temperature is it? What temperature is it? All right, so there you have it. We've got this set, 180 degrees, reserve blend pellets. We've got the iGrill 2 loaded. Now we're gonna go ahead and let it rip and let that smoke roll for 2 hours. My suggestion is 2 hours. If you prefer a heavier smoke, definitely go a little bit longer. Okay, our 2 hours of smoke are done, and look at that. We've got some beautiful color on this ham. We are now going to transfer it to the pan. Go right like that into our heavy-duty foil pan. We're gonna leave this thermometer plugged in there. We're gonna let that do its magic. We're gonna add to this about a cup of water, just to add a little bit of liquid in here. got some heavy duty foil, and we're now going to cover this up and let this start to cook. We are also going to turn our grill up to 325 degrees because the goal now is to cook this until it reaches about 135 to 140 degrees internal temperature. We know that because we're using our iGrill 2 to track it, but once this hits about 135, 140, what we're going to do then is uncover it, turn the temperature up again, and then start that final process where the outside skin gets nice and browned, and then we glaze it and add a lot of flavor. But for the meantime, we're going to track this guy's temperature, and like I said, we're going to let it go until about 135, 140 degrees, covered in the pan. Well, we just hit 137 degrees, so we're going to go ahead and uncover this ham now, and you can see it's coming along quite nicely. We turned the Traeger up to 425. We're going to leave this in the pan. Once the Traeger heats up to 425, we're going to start to glaze this probably every 5 to 10 minutes for about 45 minutes. And now we're taking this all the way up to its finishing temperature of 155 degrees. So we'll go ahead and keep that close. We turned it up to 425, and we're going to let that temperature climb a little more. So now we have a chance to finish our final glaze. All right, temperatures have started to climb. This is our first glaze that we put on there. We're gonna go ahead and add a little bit of our second glaze. You'll notice we took the thermometer out. We're very, very close to being done. We're about 5 or 6 degrees off here, and I'm gonna go ahead and switch to a different thermometer to track temperature. Now, if you're looking at what I'm doing here, I'm basing a fully cooked ham with my glaze, but this glaze is done once we're done with this ham. This isn't something I save and reuse again later. I don't want to make sure I don't have any extra pork juice in there, so we're going to go ahead and toss that when we're done. But look at that beautiful glaze that's forming on that ham. We'll go ahead and keep this closed and let that glaze finish. Okay, we've got about 5 minutes left on this. We're going to give it one final glaze. Let that glaze work its magic over the top of this ham, and we're gonna let it finish, and then when we come back, we're gonna slice into this bad boy and get ready to go. But look at that. That is a beautiful ham on the Traeger that we made ourselves. Man, this is so good. Well, there you have it. There's our world's best ham, all done in the comfort and convenience of our Traeger. And the beautiful part of this, like I said in the beginning of the video, is we controlled the flavor from the package to the plate. So we did a beautiful brine. We let it sit for 48 hours. We added some sweetness to it, but guess what? No sulfites, no nitrites, nitrates, and no pink salt. This is a beautiful, fresh picnic ham. And like I said before, you can head down below into the comment section, and there's a link for this recipe. Go ahead and print that recipe out and follow along. And be sure to let us know in the comment section what you like, what you didn't like, or what you'd like to see at our next Red Vest approved video. And then up top, somewhere up there, there's that little eye. That's that information part. That'll let you in on all the gear and gadgets that we use today to make this ham recipe. The cool thing, we've got the drippings back there in the Traeger staying warm. We're going to use those for a little au jus when the time comes. But let's get into this beauty and let's cut that. And look at that beautiful, beautiful ham. Gorgeous color from the smoke, gorgeous color from the brine. That's fantastic. I've been smelling this for quite a while, so cheers. Thanks for joining us. Happy cooking. I'm Chef Jason Morse, your Ace Hardware Grill expert. We'll see you soon on our next Red Vest approved video. Oh, come on, seriously.